Oh, hello, and welcome to another fun-filled edition of Adam's Music Box, where today we're celebrating the birthday and the evergreen legacy of one of my favorite drummers, one of the finest drummers of all time, from an era of great drummers, and this is Lenny White. Now, Lenny was introduced to most of the world via his membership of one of the finest jazz fusion bands ever, and that is Return to Forever, the band whose classic lineup was Chick Corea, who was the leader of the band from behind the keys, Stanley Clarke on many kinds of bass, Lenny White on the drums, and first Bill Connors, but then Al Di Meola on guitar. And that was sort of the classic lineup of Return to Forever. And the drums were such an important part of that band for a simple but very under-discussed reason. Now, in European classical music, it's the melody that dictates the rhythm, that defines the rhythm, that shapes the rhythm. In jazz and jazz-derived music, it's the rhythm which both shapes and co-creates the melody. And what this means is that if you have a non-melodic drummer, you're not going to have very interesting music. If you have a drummer who understands and has the ability and technique to create melody with the drums, then you're in for a treat. And Lenny White is one of the most melodic drummers. Again, one of the finest drummers of that age and of all time, alongside people like Tony Williams, Billy Cobham, and Alphonse Mouzon, just to name a few of the greats. He's on that sort of Mount Rushmore of drummers, if you will. And if you really like jazz fusion that is both very soulful but very rocky at times and very progressive at times, you need to check out his solo discography. His first album, Venusian Summer, one of the finest fusion albums ever. This came out in 75. Big City, the follow up, very good as well. And then one that was really out there, very melodic, very prog rocky in a way, but very soulful with a lot of jazz influence. The Adventures of Astral Pirates, an album that could only be made in 1978 because it was. And this was followed up by Streamline, another super good album in that same regard. And Lenny White then formed a band that is best sort of described as a soul pop jazz fusion band called 29. And the albums that he did with them, Best of Friends and 29 with Lenny White, have some really, really good writing and, of course, really good playing. It goes without saying that you should listen to all the Return to Forever albums. You can't really call yourself a lover of jazz fusion if you don't, and I'm speaking to those of you who are, but just look at some of the other albums that he's played on. And I just hit the microphone with my hand because I'm so enthusiastic about this topic. Red Clay by Freddie Hubbard, one of the finest albums ever made, and Lenny is on that. Of course, he's one of the many drummers on Bitches Brew by Miles Davis. He's played with Woody Shaw. Phoenix by Gato Barbieri from 71, an unsung but really great album, as is and Eddie Henderson's wonderful 1973 album Realization. He plays on Jaco Pastorius's very well loved 1975 debut solo album. He's played with Santana, including on Caravanserai from 72, arguably the best Santana album. He's played on Children and Forever and Journey to Love, two really good albums by Stanley Clarke. He's played with Larry Coryell. He's played with Al Di Meola on his solo stuff. The list goes on. But what really made Lenny White special is that he could play very fast without making you think he's playing very fast. Now, what does that mean? There are some drummers who really specialize in the melodrama of the instrument, which works great for soloing and works great when you're trying to bring flavor to otherwise somewhat mild music. But when you're playing in bands where all of the musicians are kicking it on all eight cylinders, which is true for Return to Forever, true for his solo work, true for a lot of the people he played with. You've got to be able to have that speed and intensity, but without sonically overpowering everyone else. It's not an easy skill to have, but Lenny White has it and has it in spades. Just a wonderful, wonderful musical drummer. And those are, of course, the best kinds, because otherwise you're just a metronome and there is zero fun in that. So listen to Lenny today, no matter which album you pick, you can't really go wrong when he's on the drums. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care.